Hey everyone, welcome to Yoga Moments. I'm Janice, and today we have our second of 2 yoga for hockey videos. So this one is focused more towards goalies. We're going to do a lot of hip, a little bit of core, a little bit of leg stretching, but really focusing on kind of our hip mobility, and it's going to feel really, really good. If you are not a Habs fan, and specifically if you are a Leafs fan, I do apologize. I only have a Habs jersey. Again, it was given to me by a friend, but I love you all equally, so hopefully you don't mind. You can get past it. I had a lot of really fun comments, both pro-Habs and pro-Leafs, and that's okay, to each their own. So wherever your loyalties lie, for however long they have laid there, usually it's a lifetime, dive on in, try something new here, and let's find what feels good in our bodies so that we can be the best goalie and hockey player that we can be. So whenever you're ready, we are going to start in tabletop position. We're going to stack our shoulders over top of our wrist, hips over top of our knees, and we're going to warm up with a little cat-cow here. So we're going to inhale, look forward, lower the belly, reach your heart forward, press away from your mat, find some space in the front body, and then we're going to exhale, turn your tailbone towards the mat, crown of the head comes down, arch through like a cat here. So really draw that front body up towards the back. Inhale to come forward. And then exhale, round through into cat again. So find a rhythm, find a breath that works for you. See if you can push away from your mat, find a little extra space. Warming up the spine here. So there's a lot of research out there on stretching, warming up. Find what works for you. So be your own guide, know your body best. If you feel like a light stretch is great before a game, awesome. If you find a deep stretch is better, do that. So really, take it inside, whatever it means to you. We're going to round through one more time. Push away from your mat. And then we're going to come back to neutral. So really finding this nice long spine parallel to our yoga mat, drawing our heart and our navel up towards our spine, just keeping that nice little kind of integrity through the torso. And then we're going to curl our right toes if they're not already and slide them all the way back behind us. Reach through that right heel. Find a little bit of stretch in the back of your right leg. And you can shift, take whatever movement you need. Just find a little bit of length in the back of that right leg. And then when you're ready, stack your shoulders over top of your wrists again. Press into your fingers. And we're going to slide that right foot all the way behind our left toes. So I'm going to take a peek over my left shoulder here. You should feel a nice long stretch in the right side of your body. If you don't, check that your left hip is stacked over top of your left knee. We have a tendency to lean over to the left. Stack your left hip over your left knee. Give yourself some traction here. Reach through that right leg. Take a look over your left shoulder. And then use your breath here. So nice big full breath. Find that expansion in the right side body. A little bit of compression in the left. And then we'll inhale, bring it back to center. Notice how you feel. Left side and right side should maybe feel different by this point. And then we'll reset, take it to the left. So left toes curl, reach through that left heel. Again, press away from your mat. Notice if you're starting to collapse. Reach through that heel. Find that stretch in the back of your left leg. And then when it feels good to you, slide that left foot over behind the right. Make sure that you've got your right hip stacked over top of your right knee. Reach through. Find that stretch in the left side body. And then when you're ready, we'll inhale, come back to center. Take a break off your wrists. Shake them out if you need. And then we're gonna come back into tabletop, curl our toes, and send our hips up towards the sky. So coming into down dog, walk it out if you need. And bend your knees here. So really lengthen your spine, push away from your fingers. Bend your knees if you need. And find a little movement here. So you might bend one knee, then the other more. Walk your heels out. And then when it feels good to you, you're going to bring your toes in a little closer to each other. Let your heels be heavy. And we're going to inhale, lift the right foot up. So I'm going to try and keep my weight even in my hands here, but I'm going to bend my right heel up towards my glutes. So finding a little kind of compression in my leg. And I'm going to draw circles with my knee, my right knee here. Going one way, then the other. See if you can straighten your elbows here. And then when it feels good, I'm going to open my hip all the way to the right side. So my right heel is coming over towards my left glute. Still trying to push evenly into both hands here. Opening my hip. Finding my breath here. And then on my exhale, I'm going to bring my right foot back and underneath my left leg. So I'm reaching through now, finding a stretch in the outside of my right leg. Very different to do yoga in a hockey jersey, but we're rolling with it. So find your breath here, let that stretch happen. So there's no effort other than maybe holding yourself up. And then we're going to bring it back, plant our foot, bend our knees, come back on down, and we're going to send it into child's pose. So send your hips back, toes are together, knees can be together or out to the side. And this is child's pose, just a nice resting pose. Find a little stretch, a little passive stretch in your hips and your low back. Finding places to relax and soften, check in with your shoulders and your jaw. Maybe your heels, your ankles. Maybe your hips. You got you, so trust yourself. Make sure that you're breathing. And then when you're ready, we're going to slide our hands all the way back up. Reach them all the way in front of us. And we're going to come back up into tabletop. And we're going to do the other side. So curl your toes, send your hips up into down dog. Walk your dog out if you need to. And then when you're ready, the left leg's going to reach all the way up. Bend your knee, reach your heel towards your glutes. And we're going to draw circles with our left knee. So again, try and maintain balance evenly throughout your hands. If you can't, no worries. It's a practice. Go the other way with your circles. And then when you're ready, open that left hip. So open all the way to the left side. Reach through your right heel. Find your breath. See if you can square your shoulders. And then on your next exhale, bring your left foot back, reach it through to the right. Find that stretch in the outside of your left leg. So definitely goalie challenge here. A little more intensity for our legs and our hips than for our out players. So we're going to inhale, bring it back to center, send it into down dog one more time. And then we're going to lower our knees, take one more child's pose here. And so notice how you feel right now. Notice if the left side and right side feels the same or different. There's no right or wrong, just an observation, just a little awareness. Alrighty, we'll we'll slide our hands forward, come back up into tabletop. One more time, we're gonna send it up into down dog. From here, send your hips back, get nice and long in the spine. You might rotate your inner thighs towards each other and then the wall behind you. I say wall or the spider plant, whichever works. And then when you're ready, we're gonna make our way to the top of the mat. So you can step it up, walk it up, jump it up, whatever feels good. We're gonna come into a forward fold, bend your knees here, and just let your head be heavy. So kind of working out the backs of the legs, the lower back here. If it feels good to you, you might gently walk it side to side with your hands, bending your knees as it feels natural to do so. Finding a little stretch in the backs of the legs. And making sure that we're breathing. And then let your head hang heavy. You might take your elbows, grab the opposite one. Creating a little bit of length in the spine. And then we're going to press into our feet, release our arms, and come all the way up. So, welcome to standing. This is Tadasana, standing nice and open, chest open. We're going to find this alignment here. And we did a little bit of this in our outplayer video as well. So we're going to walk our feet out. Toes are going to point out towards the corner of our mat. And we're going to imagine pressing all four corners of our feet into the earth. So really connecting the ball joints of our big and little toe and the heel, both sides of the heel. And then we're going to lift up from the arches. So that's going to give us this integrity through the inner thigh. And we're going to just slowly lower down like we're going down a wall. So back is nice and straight. You could draw your navel in and up. That's going to give you a little bit of lift as well. And adjust your feet if you need. So this is goddess pose or God pose if you are a gentleman. And we're really going to engage the quads here. So imagine you're on a nice horizontal plane, so no rainbows here, or we're just going to slide to the right, straightening through the left leg, and then staying where our center is level, so whatever that means to you, we're going to push through our right foot, slide all the way back. So following your breath here, being very gentle with our knees. So if you have knee issues, go low and slow. Take it in, work within a simple, easy range of motion for you. It doesn't matter if your tailbone's towards the ground. Find your appropriate edge today. Feel your legs working here. It's like going post to post. Make sure you're breathing. And then we're going to come back to center. So even it out. Make any adjustments you need. You might sink a little lower. Keep your heart lifted. Check in with yourself. You might walk your feet out. And then we're going to bring our hands to our thighs. The left shoulder is going to dip in, just finding a little twist in our spine. And then we're going to inhale back to center. See if you can keep your tailbone from popping out. You want to keep it in underneath you. Dipping your right shoulder in, inhaling to center, exhaling, taking the left shoulder in. So just in case you need to turn and make a glove save, or kind of see around people, hopefully your defensemen are taking care of that. So keep pressing into your feet here, and we'll even it out. So find your last little twist. We'll inhale, come on up. And then we're going to heel toe our feet into center. Where we're going to find this nice long body. We're going to take our hands up overhead. Reach through all four sides of your torso. Press into your feet. Lift up from the arch. Draw your navel in and up. Let your tailbone be heavy. So finding whatever space you need here. Exploring kind of that nice long channel all the way up through the center body. And we'll exhale, release. Or we're going to lower our center. So whatever that means to you, bring it on down. My feet automatically turn out just to support me for that. And we're going to come down into a squat. So if your heels are up, no worries. You can always put like a rolled towel or blanket behind you, just for a little support. We're not going to be here long. We are going to push our elbows out against our knees, and our knees are going to squeeze back. So I have my hands in prayer position here, letting my tailbone be heavy. Heart is lifted, and it doesn't matter if your tailbone's coming towards the earth. You can always be up here too. But find a little squat for you, opening our hips. And then when you're ready, we're going to take the right hand behind us, left hand behind us, come into a seat. So we're going to, again, similar to the out player, because there's a lot of hip movement going on in a hockey game. Knees are going to be up towards the sky. Legs are going to be out at a bit of a 90 and 90. And we're going to exhale, turn our knees to the left. So left leg is finding a little external rotation, right leg's finding a little internal rotation. I'm going to hug my right hip a little closer to the ground. So both knees are kind of reaching towards the earth. Just a little bit of weight. And you can play and explore. You know yourself best. And then I'm going to keep my hands up to my heart. Just a reminder to keep my heart lifted. If you want to use your hands, go for it. But I want to stay nice and long through the spine. Opening my right knee as far as I can until my left knee needs to engage, or my left leg. And then I'm going to turn over to the right side. So again, 90 and 90 in the legs, both knees hugging towards the earth, and I'm just gently hugging my left hip into the earth a little bit. So we'll do one pass just like this, just to warm up for our hips. Bring my hands up to my heart, keep my left leg opening as long as I can, then my right leg is going to follow. I'm going to turn over to the left side again. This time, I'm going to hug my right hip in just for a second, just for a breath, and then I'm going to take my right leg and step it across, so it's stepping, so my right ankle's just on top of my left knee. And I'm actually going to hug that thigh in. Again, finding this nice tall, drawing your navel in and up. So I'm finding a little stretch in my right hip. Left knee is still hugging towards the earth. So there's a lot going on here. Be patient with yourself. And then we're going to step the right leg back. Hug the right hip in one more time. And this is something that you can do. You don't have to slow it down as much as we are today. You might just do, right and left, back and forth. Just finding what feels good to you. I keep scooching forward, and that's okay. We're going to find our left hip hugging towards the earth. A little bit of energy in the left hip. And then we're going to step that left ankle over in front of our right knee. And we're going to hug our left thigh into our chest. So finding a little bit of stretch in the left hip. Hugging my right knee towards the earth. So both hips are active here. Making sure I'm breathing the whole time. Maybe itching your nose. And then we're going to come right on back to center. So just for fun, I'm going to rock and roll left and right with my legs. Should feel really good in the hips. And we'll even it out. And then we'll come back to center and come right onto our back. So we're going to slow it down a little more, and we're going to take it nice and deep into our core here. So really finding some pelvic floor muscles that are going to give you a lot of strength and support with your entire core, which we know is so important. So my feet are on the mat, my knees are going to be up towards the sky here, and I'm just going to bring my awareness to my tailbone. So on my inhale, I'm going to turn my tailbone towards the earth. And then on my exhale, I'm going to lift it up and away. So you'll notice how much movement there is just in this. So inhale, pelvis, or tailbone, sorry. Tailbone turns towards the earth. Exhale, draw your tailbone up towards the sky. And see if while you're doing this, you can actually soften your glutes. So it's always kind of fun to like, yeah, I can do this, but if you're engaging your glutes entirely, the pelvic floor doesn't have to do as much work. Alrighty, so even it out, finish on an exhale, and let your tailbone come back to neutral. And then you're going to find these two hip bones. So those little prominent kind of headlight bones. And you're going to pretend that you're rolling a marble from one bone to the other. So see if you can keep your glutes nice and soft. This is really subtle. If you're like, oh, this is so frustrating, just slow down, breathe. You got this. I'm right here with you. And we're going to try and do it without swinging our knees. So, you know, I can definitely do this, but I can also slow it down and just use the muscles in my pelvis. So rather than swinging my knees left and right, you might find that they very subtly move kind of in a north-south, proximal, distal. So just notice what's going on. And then shake your hips out. Give yourself a nice little relaxed moment here. And then we're going to inhale, take our tailbone towards the earth again. And then you pick the direction. We're going to see if we can roll that marble in a circle now. So roll it over to one of your hip bones. And then draw your tailbone up towards the sky. And then roll the marble over to the other hip bone. So subtle, subtle work, but it will feel so good. And then you're going to inhale, take your tailbone back to the earth. So see if you can roll your marble in a circle, using only the pelvis muscles. And if you're like, wow, this is more challenging than I thought it should be, no worries, you're not alone. But not only will being a goalie be a little easier, feel a little better, just generally life, when your pelvis has good health and you're moving well, it feels good, it feels effortless, it feels easy. So it should make you smile, hopefully. And then when you're ready, see if you can switch the direction of your marble. So go the other way. So building in these little supports here. Seeing if we can isolate what muscles do what. So finish out this circle wherever you are, and then we're going to come back to center. I'm going to walk my feet out to the edges of my mat, and I'm just going to let my knees kind of fall in, windshield washer the hips. Should feel really good. And just notice how that feels. So maybe it feels like it's easier than before. maybe it just feels like things move differently, and that's totally cool. It's fun to really just explore what the sensation is in our bodies. I'm going to walk my feet in and underneath my knees. So my knees and feet are in line with my hips. And I've walked my feet up underneath my knees. We are going to do a bridge. And this one, I totally encourage you explore here. So I'm going to press into my feet, so much so that my hips lift. And I'm going to lift my hips up towards the sky, reach my knees away from me. And I'm going to bring my chest towards my chin up towards the sky just to protect my neck. But play here. See if you can soften the glutes. Then maybe you engage them. So find whichever bridge feels good to you. There's no right or wrong. There is what feels good and what does not feel good. So make sure you're finding what feels good. If you feel sore, come back just a little bit. Find places to soften. But make sure you're breathing. And then we're going to slowly exhale. See if you can do so with control. Let one vertebrae kind of meet the mat at a time. Finding that connection point, bringing yourself back down. And just pausing when we get there. So notice what's going on in your legs, in your body, in your spine. And then one more time, we'll do one more bridge. So press into your feet. Come all the way up. And again, maybe you do it differently this time. Maybe you use more of your glutes. Maybe you squeeze your sit bones together. Maybe you try and find some softness. Let your hip flexors lift. Engage. Maybe you even find a little smile here. We're almost done. You got this. We're going to exhale, lower down with control. So slowing it down, finding that opposition to maybe some of the gains. And then again, we're going to just kind of rock our legs side to side, windshield washer them out just a little bit. So finding that good feeling in our quads. We're going to take our arms out to the side. They can be stretched out in a nice big kind of T. Maybe you take them up overhead. Either way, we're going to let our knees fall to the left. So a little spinal twist here. Great posture. Whew, getting all zenned out over here. Great posture to just use your breath again. So nice big full breath. Should accentuate that stretch through your torso. If you have a healthy back and you want to explore, you might even explore reaching your right knee a little bit further away, down towards the corner of your mat, the left corner of your mat. Finding a nice stretch through the front of your right hip. And then find some softness. Draw your navel to your spine. So always moving from a place where you are centered and grounded. Draw your navel to your spine and let your lower back come to the mat first. So imagine there's a string that just kind of pulls you back to center. Should feel awesome. Your legs will follow suit, promise. And then we're going to exhale over to the right side. So find your stretch first. Find your breath. And then if it feels good, you can kind of reach that left knee towards the bottom right corner of your mat. You might find some softness here. When it feels good, draw your navel to your spine. Let that string kind of pull your lower back. So imagine a string from your spine to your mat. Come back onto your mat. And from here, again, we're just going to rock our hips out. Let our legs come all the way out. And we are going to settle in for a sweet Shavasana. So I'm going to press my head into the mat, tuck my shoulder blades in and under my back, just opening my chest a little bit. And that is going to let my palms fall open to the sky. If this is not your favorite posture or pose, no worries. Modify it. Bring your hands to your belly. You can turn onto your side, whatever works for you. I'm just going to rock my head back and forth, a little massage for the back of my skull. And we're going to let it all go. So let yourself be nice and heavy here. Relax your eyes and your brow and your jaw and everything. So you might even scan head to toe. And I encourage you to stay here as long as you would like. I'm going to bring my hands up to my third eye, that point in between my eyebrows. And thank you so much for spending this time with me. I hope you guys have loved the hockey series. And from my heart to yours, namaste.